Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy.
How can you truly enjoy the meal unless you know the flavor? Welcome back, ABL fans. This is Big Earl, your trusted voice in action baseball league analysis, coming at you with our 6th installment of Deep Dive 25. Safety first, because we're about to slice, dice, and dissect all the nuances of this great league. Many thanks to the beat writer of the Houston Chronicle for your broad-reaching and sometimes nostalgic take on the team and game you love. Okay, ABL fanatics, let's do this. Whether it's the Central workhorses, the Western wildcards, or the Eastern powerhouses, we're covering it all. See it for yourself. Hold tight, ABL diehards. The Houston Mavericks are the ABC Central Division's answer to a baseball dynasty. Keep your scorecards ready. This team's got a legacy to uphold and a score to settle. If you're one of those folks who can't get enough of the nitty-gritty, the ins and outs, the ups and downs of ABL baseball, then this deep dive is for you. It's like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You never know what treasure you're gonna find. Grab yourself some sweet iced tea and dish up a helping of Texas-style chili as we get set to delve into a squad as complex and full of surprises as Houston's sprawling bayous and skyline.
Question 1. How does the owner's personality and negotiation style influence the team's culture and performance?
The Houston Mavericks, a tale of two egos.
Baseball fans, gather round. There's nothing like the whiff of pine tar in the air and the crack of the bat to make you feel alive, is there? But let's set the scene for the Houston Mavericks, a team that's as interesting off the field as they are on it. The owner, Xavier Ferguson, is a grizzled veteran of the game with a controlling and temperamental negotiating style that can make Wall Street sharks look like goldfish. His personality isn't just a wrinkle in contract talks, it's the blueprint for the Mavericks culture. Larry Bell, the GM, is the yin to Ferguson's yang. Outstanding reputation, personable, a real diplomat in cleats. And don't forget about Ray Gallo, the hitting coach, an easygoing fella who's as flexible as a gymnast when it comes to getting along with folks. His focus on contact hitting is the baseball equivalent of a jazz improvisation. Let the runs flow, baby. Now, here's the rub. When you've got an owner like Ferguson steering the ship, you're either sailing into a golden sunset or headed straight for an iceberg. And only time will tell which way the Mavericks go. It's a dynamic that could create a championship squad or, as we've seen too often, a beautiful disaster. As the great Yogi Berra put it, baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical. In the case of the Mavericks, the mental part is a high-stakes game of chess, and everyone's waiting to see who'll make the next move.
Question 2. What roles do the front office and coaches play in the team's success or struggles? Are they aligned with the owner's vision?
The Maverick equation, aligning visions and egos for shouted glory.
Baseball, that grand old game where legends are made in the blink of an eye and dreams can vanish just as quickly. Let's chew the fat on the Houston Mavericks, a team that's as complex as a knuckleball on a windy day. At the heart of it all, you've got Xavier Ferguson, the owner, who's as controlling as they come and twice as temperamental. Then there's the GM, Larry Bell, a real smooth operator, the guy you'd want negotiating your next big deal. His ability to play nice could be the grease in the Mavericks' gears, especially when the owner leans more toward a sledgehammer approach. Don't forget Robbie Bryson, the team trainer. His role is like a good umpire. When he does his job well, you hardly notice, but when things go south, oh boy. Now, the man on the field, Ray Gallo, he's the maestro of small ball, a tactical wizard. But here's the million-dollar question. Do these key players sing in harmony, or is it more of a cacophony? Ferguson's domineering style sets the tone, and it's up to Bell and Gallo to either get in tune or risk hitting a sour note. As the great Leo DeRocher once quipped, baseball is like church. Many attend, but few understand. In the case of the Mavericks, understanding each other might just be their ticket to the promised land, or their one-way ticket to obscurity. It's either a symphony or a train wreck in the making, folks. Stay tuned.
Question 3. How does the team's financial health reflect in its performance?
The financial scorecard of the Houston Mavericks, cashing in on fan frenzy.
Baseball fans, let's take a walk down memory lane to the days when tickets cost a nickel and the players were just happy to be there. Fast forward to today's Houston Mavericks, where the hot dogs might cost you a bit more, but oh, what a show you get in return. With a payroll just shy of $8 million and a budget that could buy you the moon, or at least a few rising stars, these Mavericks are a case study in financial acumen. they've got a war chest of over $4 million earmarked for trades, signaling that they're not just in it for the moment, they're building a dynasty. And folks, the fans are eating it up like apple pie on the 4th of July. Maxed out interest, sky-high loyalty, and an attendance figure that's a hair away from a sellout. It's like Woodstock, but for baseball. The Mavericks have managed to turn fan enthusiasm into cold, hard cash, raking in over $8.5 million in total revenue. Are they getting bang for their buck? By the beard of Babe Ruth, they are. With a near-perfect performance on and off the field, they've turned the Houston Mavericks into not just a team, but a brand that's as American as, well, baseball.
Question 4. How has fan interest evolved over time, and what does it mean for the team's revenue and player acquisitions?
The Maverick Meteor, a decade of rising fan fervor and its golden payoff.
Baseball lovers, let's dial it back to 1972, a time when bell-bottoms were in, the Houston Mavericks were just cutting their teeth, and a fan interest level of 66 was respectable but not earth-shattering. Fast forward to the neon glow of 1981, and what a journey it's been, like going from opening for the local band to headlining your own stadium tour. With a fan interest at a peak perfect 100, the Mavericks aren't just playing baseball, they're the Beatles of the ABL. This crescendo of fandom didn't just happen, it's been a steady climb, a crescendo that's turned into a roaring symphony of ticket sales, merch, and sky-high revenues. Oh, the revenue. With gates and season tickets bringing in north of $4 million, they've got a war chest for trades that would make a pirate blush. This high-octane fan interest is the golden ticket that makes the Mavericks a magnet for top-tier talent. If I were a free agent, I'd be packing my bags for Houston faster than you can say home run. And folks, this isn't just a snapshot, it's the blueprint for a dynasty in the making. As the old saying goes, if you build it, they will come. Well, Houston, they've come, they've seen, and they're here to stay.
Question 5. What is the current mood among the fan base, and how could it impact the team in the short term?
The Mavericks fan fever, a double-edged sword of passion and expectation.
Let's take a moment to tip our caps to the Houston Mavericks fans, the kind of die-hard supporters who make Fenway's faithful look like Sunday churchgoers. With a maxed-out fan interest of 100 in a stadium that's bursting at the seams, the mood in Houston is electric, like the air before a thunderstorm or the buzz in the crowd when a no-hitter is on the line. This isn't just a home field advantage, it's a fortress where the players are kings and the fans their loyal subjects. The immediate impact? A surge of adrenaline for the team and a revenue stream that flows like the Mississippi. But let's not kid ourselves, this high-octane atmosphere comes with the weight of expectation. A misstep here, a losing streak there, and that fortress could start to feel more like a pressure cooker. In the short term, the Mavericks are riding a wave of fan enthusiasm that could propel them to glory, but they've also got to navigate the treacherous waters of sky-high expectations. As the sage Tommy Lasorda put it, the difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination. Right now, that determination is a palpable force in Houston, a combustible mix of hope and expectation. Whether it fuels a rocket to the stars or sets off a powder keg, well, that's the beauty and the curse of baseball.
Question 6. How is the team faring in the league standings, and what factors are contributing to their performance?
Houston's rocky orbit, the Mavericks struggled to break free of gravity.
Remember the good old days when the Houston Mavericks had us on the edge of our seats, riding the rocket of fan enthusiasm? Well, folks, it looks like the rocket has hit a bit of turbulence. With an 8-11 record and a run differential that's more lopsided than a cowboy hat in a tornado, the Mavericks are struggling to find their rhythm. They're showing some spark in one-run games, but when the innings stretch, they seem to fizzle out like a bottle rocket. And don't get me started on their road record. It's like they left their mojo back in Houston. They're facing a tough lineup of teams, evidenced by their strength of schedule, and they're not exactly knocking it out of the park. But hey, this is baseball, a marathon, not a sprint. They've got a series against Nashville up next, and if ever there was a time for a course correction, it's now. The Mavericks have shown they've got the heart. They just need to add some rocket fuel to the mix. So, will they soar or continue to sputter? That's the grand old mystery of the game we love, isn't it?
Question 7. What are the team's odds of making the playoffs on a divisional and conference level?
The Maverick gamble, long odds in the playoff stakes.
Baseball, where the scent of freshly cut grass mingles with the aroma of ballpark franks, and the thrill of October dreams can start in the heat of a July afternoon. But for the Houston Mavericks, those October dreams are starting to look more like a mirage. With divisional playoff odds stuck at a meager 7.6% and conference odds not much better at 12.8%, the Mavericks are currently a long shot in a game that loves its Cinderella stories. It's a tough pill to swallow for a fan base that's been riding high on hope. But remember, folks, the season is a long, winding road, full of comebacks and heartbreaks. As Yogi Berra once said, it ain't over till it's over. So, while the odds may be stacked against them, this is baseball, a game where miracles happen when you least expect them. Can the Mavericks pull off a Hail Mary? Well, in this grand old game, you never really know until the final out.
Question 8. How do base runs and ELO ratings paint a picture of the team's true strengths and weaknesses?
The Maverick Paradox, a tale of unfulfilled potential and mediocrity.
Base runs and ELO ratings, those quiet indicators that whisper the secrets of a team's soul, the kind of numbers that would have made old school scouts raise an eyebrow. In the case of the Houston Mavericks, they're painting a picture that's worth 1,000 words, but I'll sum it up in a few: missed opportunities and lukewarm performances. With 65 actual runs scored against an expected 81, Houston's leaving more on the table than a kid who doesn't like his vegetables. And let's not forget the 98 runs allowed, 8 more than they should have, like a pitcher who can't quite find the strike zone when it matters most. Slap that next to an ELO rating of 1,513.0, and what you've got is a team that's stuck in the middle, like a car in neutral. They're neither the class clowns nor the valedictorians of the league. In the immortal words of Branch Rickey, luck is the residue of design, and right now, the Mavericks need a better blueprint. They've got the potential, sure as a summer sky is blue, but until they turn that into actual runs and wins, they're just another could-have-been in a league full of has-beens and up-and-comers.
Question 9. What does the team's WAR indicate about its most valuable players?
The Mavericks WAR, a tale of unimpressive might.
WAR, wins above replacement, the stat that can make or break a player's reputation faster than a fastball down the middle. For the Houston Mavericks, the total WAR of 2.19 is as underwhelming as a rain delay on opening day. With a batter WAR of 1.57, the hitters are doing their part, but it's more like a polite applause than a standing ovation. Then comes the pitcher WAR at a lackluster 0.62, a number that's got more questions than answers, like a rookie facing a veteran closer in the ninth. So, who's the VIP in this MVP conversation? Right now, it's a toss-up between the not bad but not great hitters and the could-be much better pitchers. It's a scenario that needs a quick change if the Mavericks aim to be more than just a footnote in this ABL season. As the old saying goes, time waits for no one, and that clock's ticking faster than a Nolan Ryan heater.
Question 10. How have injuries impacted the team's performance and depth?
The injuries toll, Houston's silent adversary.
The disabled list, a roster no team wants to fill, but every team inevitably does. The Houston Mavericks find themselves 10th in the league in this less than enviable stat, with 4 injuries amounting to 54 days on the DL and $140,000 out the window. While that cash might be pocket change in the grand scheme of a multi-million-dollar payroll, remember, a penny saved could be a game won down the stretch. These injuries aren't just about numbers, they're about the intangibles, the chemistry, the strategy, the morale. With a month and a half of games compromised, the bench and farm system get thrust into the spotlight. And let me tell you, nothing tests your depth like a string of injuries. It's like taking a leisurely cruise and suddenly finding out you're the captain of a dinghy in a storm. If the Mavericks hope to make any waves this season, they need their shipshape players back on deck, and pronto. Like the seasoned skipper Casey Stengel said, most ball games are lost, not won, and you certainly can't win from the infirmary.
Question 11. What do the team's batting statistics reveal about its offensive capabilities?
Houston's offense, the steady sedan in a race for muscle cars.
The Houston Mavericks bats, more like a reliable family sedan than a flashy sports car. They've punched in 65 runs, respectable but not the stuff of legends. Their power numbers, with 17 homers and 49 extra base hits, suggest they've got some muscle but not enough to flex regularly. The strikeout rate of 15.2% and walk rate of 7.81% show some discipline, but they're not exactly walking their way to victory. Their batting average and OBP hover in the zone of respectability, but the slugging percentage and OPS won't light up any scoreboards. Let's put it this way, they can get on base, but they're not turning those opportunities into a parade around the bases. It's like finding a radio station you like, but realizing the signal's just a little bit fuzzy. As the splendid splinter, Ted Williams once mused, success in baseball often comes in small percentages. Right now, the Mavericks are hitting some of those marks, but if they're eyeing a championship, they'll need to tune that radio and find their perfect frequency.
Question 12. How does the pitching staff stack up against divisional and conference competition?
Houston's pitching, the leaky faucet of the ABL.
The Houston Mavericks pitching staff, more like a leaky faucet than a fire hose in the dog days of the ABL season. With an ERA near the 5 mark, they're practically rolling out the welcome mat for opposing batters. And let's not sugarcoat it, their FIP and XFIP suggest the hurlers are underperforming, not just unlucky. Sure, the XFIP is a bit more promising, like a glimmer of sunshine on a cloudy day, but it's far from a guarantee of better days ahead. The BOBIP is around the league average, which means these arms can't blame it all on bad luck. Their K% BB% sits at a less than stellar 8.19%, and don't even get me started on that abysmal HR%, giving up long balls like they're going out of style. Folks, this isn't a pitching staff ready to contend, it's one that needs to go back to the drawing board. They've got the mound presence of a kid nervously asking someone to the prom, hoping for the best but expecting the worst. If they don't tighten those leaks soon, it's gonna be a long, soggy season in Houston.
Question 13. Are the team's fielding statistics a strength or a weakness?
The Mavericks fielding, a study in quiet competence.
The Houston Mavericks, solid in the field, but not the kind you'll see on highlight reels. Their total zone rating sits at a respectable 1.63, showing they can hold their own but won't make your jaw drop. Defensive efficiency? At 0.712, they're turning a good chunk of batted balls into outs, but there's room to spruce up those numbers. Errors? Only 4 to their name, as clean as a freshly chopped baseline. Double plays turned stand at 17, a solid testament to their infield synergy. The outfield? Well, with 504 innings played and only 2 assists, they're not gunning runners down, but they're not letting balls sail over their heads either. And who could forget the catcher's delight, or runner's thrown out percentage of nearly 47%. That's enough to make any pitcher tip his cap. So here's the skinny, the Mavericks fielding is like your old glove, reliable, comfortable, but not exactly a showstopper. It gets the job done, and sometimes, that's all you need to stay in the game.
Question 14. What do base running stats say about the team's tactical approach?
The cautious dance, Mavericks base running tells a conservative tale.
The Houston Mavericks are treading carefully on the base paths, like a rookie taking his first steps into the big leagues. With a 63.6% success rate on stolen bases, they're playing it too close to the vest, well below the 75% threshold where the risk becomes a worthy gamble. Look, they've got base runners, a solid 118 singles and 57 walks say so, but they're not turning those opportunities into daring dashes for extra bases. Add 15 hit-by pitches to the mix, and you've got a team willing to take a bruise but not a risk. The weighted stolen base runs, WSB, stands at a modest 0.29, barely a blip on the tactical radar. In a nutshell, the Mavericks are like a jazz band that refuses to improvise. They're sticking to the sheet music and missing out on the chance to make some beautiful chaos. Perhaps it's time for a change in tune?
Question 15. Who are the standout performers in batting, and what do their stats reveal?
Swingin' Mavericks, the hot bats in Houston's lineup.
The sweet crack of the bat, music to any baseball aficionado's ears. In the Houston Mavericks lineup, it's a quartet conducting this symphony. Leading the ensemble is Alex Monge, the left fielder whose OPS of .8354 and WOBA of .3698 are like a virtuoso's crescendo. He's the guy you want with the game on the line. Catcher Alex Ramirez may spend most days calling the tune behind the plate, but don't overlook his .7962 OPS and .3677 WOBA. He's got the chops to shine in any spotlight. Then there's the youthful Elijah Glenn, a 22-year-old first baseman with an OPS of .7467 and WOBA of .3432. Consider him the promising rookie in the band. Rounding out the group is Jesus Vasquez, the right fielder, whose numbers are a mix of highs and lows, an OPS of .7235 and a slightly concerning negative WAR. He's the unpredictable soloist, capable of both brilliance and off-key moments. Each has their role, but as any seasoned baseball fan knows, it's how they harmonize that'll determine the Mavericks' fate this season.
Question 16. Who are the key figures in the pitching staff, and how do they influence games?
The Maverick Mound Men, Houston's pitching staff decoded.
The sweet science of pitching, a ballet of power and finesse that can transform the outcome of any game. For the Houston Mavericks, it's a tale of heroes and question marks. Leading the charge is Nate Higgins, a 30-year-old vet with a dazzling 2.40 ERA. But hold your applause, his FIP and xFIP suggest that Cinderella might be nearing midnight. Dylan Wilson, 25 and brimming with promise, sports a 2.83 ERA and an even more eye-catching 3.39 xFIP. He's the future, folks, and maybe the present. Then there's Scott Zell, a solid arm with a 4.13 ERA, no fireworks, but he won't burn down the house either. But let's talk Miguel Salgado, the enigmatic 30-year-old with a cringeworthy 6.85 ERA and a negative WAR. He's the pitcher dancing on a tightrope, and not particularly well. In a sport where, as Tom Seaver put it, mental toughness is the margin of victory, the Mavericks have a mix of masterminds and mysteries on the mound.
Question 17. Who excels in base running and fielding, and how do they impact the game's outcome?
The unseen game changers, base running and fielding wizards of the Houston Mavericks.
In the sacred annals of baseball, where tales of towering home runs and no-hitters get passed down like family heirlooms, let's not forget the artistry on the base paths and the ballet in the field. Meet the Houston Mavericks' unsung maestros. In the base running department, we've got Jesus Vasquez, a 27-year-old right fielder who's as crafty as a fox with 5 stolen bases and a 71.4% success rate. Hot on his heels is Andres Arenas, who, although not stealing as often, has been Mr. Reliable when he does. Now, let's talk Golden Gloves. Ricky Castillo, just 25 and already a vacuum at second base, boasts a perfect fielding percentage and has turned 15 double plays. Then there's Felix Alvarez, whose slick moves at shortstop nearly match Castillo's, save for a lone error. These fellas might not make the highlight reels every night, but they're the backbone of those W's in the wing column. In the wise words of Willie Mays, what's tough is being good every day, and these Mavericks are just that.
Question 18. What does the team's age demographic reveal about its experience and future potential?
The aging curve, Houston Mavericks race against time.
The enduring tension between the wisdom of years and the vigor of youth, a baseball riddle as timeless as a Yogi Berra quip. Listen up, ABL aficionados, the Houston Mavericks are steering through the middle lanes of baseball's generational highway. Their major league roster sports an average age of nearly 30, seasoned but teetering on the edge of decline. Even the AAA folks aren't exactly spring chickens, averaging close to their big league counterparts. But hold your horses, there's a whiff of youthful promise wafting up from the AA and single A levels. Yet, let's not kid ourselves, these aren't snot-nosed rookies ready to take the league by storm. The Mavericks are like a cherished vinyl record, rich in experience but prone to scratches if not handled carefully. They've got to make their move before the needle skips. So, what's it gonna be, Houston? Time waits for no one, not even ball players.
Question 19. Who has had the best batting and pitching games, and what do these performances signify for the team?
Mavericks' moments of brilliance, a glimpse into the soul of the team.
The aroma of freshly cut grass and the crack of the bat. There's nothing like a standout performance to remind us why we love this game. Albert Chavez and Nate Higgins, folks, are the living, breathing heartbeats of the Houston Mavericks. Chavez's 2-homer, 3 RBI game against Boston was more than a hot streak. It was a clarion call to his teammates that said, "Hop on, boys, we're going for a ride." Then there's Nate Higgins, whose arm might as well have been a magic wand against St. Louis, conjuring a 9-inning shutout that not only saved the bullpen but perhaps the team's morale. These aren't mere footnotes in a season, they're chapters in the lore of the Mavericks. As the ABL legacy sage Danny Rodriguez always says, it's not always the stars that make the sky shine. Sometimes, it's the fleeting comets that capture our gaze and make us dream a little bigger. So, Houston, are these stellar performances outliers or omens of a brighter season ahead?
Question 20. What does your gut tell you about this team in the 1981 championship season and the Grand Tournament of Champions?
The Mavericks, a dark horse trotting toward destiny.
There's something about the scent of peanuts and Cracker Jack in the air that makes you want to wax poetic about the diamond. The Houston Mavericks, my friends, are that proverbial dark horse, not the belle of the ball, but the one who might just steal your heart. With a hurler like Nate Higgins, who's less a pitcher and more a conjurer of zeros on the scoreboard, this team has a shot at grandeur. Let's not overlook their lumber. Albert Chavez and Apostolos Georgiou are the kind of fellows who can turn a pitcher's duel into a fireworks display. Now, they're no 27 Yankees, but they've got this gritty charm, like a vintage glove that's seen a few too many line drives, but still makes the play. Their fielding is like a well-oiled Broadway show. Ricky Castillo and Felix Alvarez make those double plays look like choreographed dance. But every tale has its tragic figure, and here it's the bullpen, a shaky ensemble that needs a hero, maybe a mid-season recruit to steady the ship. As for the fans, well, they're the kindling waiting for a spark. If this Mavericks team starts to blaze a trail, expect the stands to turn into a bonfire of passion. It's like Casey Stengel said, managing is all about the orchestra, not just the conductor. If this ensemble plays their parts right, don't be surprised to see them taking a bow come the Grand Tournament of Champions.
Question 21. What is the team's history in the Grand Tournament of Champions?
The Mavericks, a tapestry of triumphs and tears.
The Houston Mavericks in the Grand Tournament of Champions. Now there's a tale that's as layered as the infield dirt after a doubleheader. Picture this, a ball club that's tasted both the sweet nectar of victory and the bitter gall of defeat, all in the span of a half-decade. They swung from the euphoria of a 4-0 sweep in '75 to the despair of their own sweep at the hands of Pittsburgh, like a jukebox flipping from Sinatra's highs to Cash's lows. They've been perennial contenders, sure, but also tenants in Heartbreak Hotel, losing 3 Grand Championship Series in a manner that could churn stomachs and write country songs. But redemption, 1979 was the year they broke the curse and hoisted the trophy, beating Phoenix like a drum. Then 1980 came around, and the dream of back-to-back glory slipped through their fingers, as elusive as a knuckleball. This team's history is a potpourri of emotions, a roller coaster that doesn't know the meaning of a flat track. Now, as we stare down the barrel of the 1981 season, the stakes are as high as ever. Each pitch, each swing, is another stitch in the Mavericks' complex quilt of legacy. Will this year add a patch of glory or another square of sorrow to that intricate tapestry?
Question 22. What is the team's history in previous seasons?
A Maverick saga, from humble beginnings to crossroads.
The Houston Mavericks. Picture this, a team that has aged like a fine wine, maturing from the vinegar years of the early '70s into a robust vintage by the end of the decade. Their arc reads like an old Western film, from a rough start in '72 with a 67-95 record and financial woes, to gunning for the top spots in the late '70s. Along the way, they became the darlings of the playoffs, even clutching that elusive championship in '79. But don't let those laurels fool you. The '80s greeted them with a stumbling 8-11 start. Their bad work has cooled down over the years, but the pitching staff has been as reliable as a Swiss watch. Financially, they've climbed from the red into a comfortable $7.2 million, and fan attendance, the heartbeat of any club, has boomed like 4th of July fireworks. Now, as the '81 season unfolds, they stand at a fork in the road, one path leading to renewed glory and the other, well, to the annals of what could have beens. As we sit on this precipice, is this the year the Mavericks soar, or do they tumble into a canyon of lost chances?
Question 23. What's your take on last season?
The Mavericks' 1980 season, a symphony of highs and near misses.
The 1980 Houston Mavericks. Think of them as a rock band that followed up a chart-topping album with another near-platinum hit. They posted a formidable 92-70 record, parked themselves in second place, and made it all the way to the Grand Championship Series, only to lose in a heart-stopping 7-game bout with the Detroit Dukes. But let's not forget the sterling ERA of 3.13, a testament to the team's mound maestros. On the other side of the plate, they may have batted a modest .242, but don't be fooled, they had the magic when the game was on the line. The fans? Oh, they turned up all right, nearly 1.7 million strong, showing loyalty thicker than Texas barbecue sauce. Financially, the Mavericks were as solid as a vintage Stratocaster, with a hefty payroll and a balanced budget to keep the band together. The 1980 season was like a hit single that just missed the top spot, a year of what could have been, but also one that affirmed the Mavericks as a powerhouse act in the Action Baseball League.
Question 24. How does what happened in the 1980 season reflect on the 1981 early campaign?
Early stumbles in '81, a hangover or a wake-up call.
The 1981 season is unfurling like the morning after a raucous party, where the Mavericks are squinting at the sunlight of reality. They've kicked off with an 8-11 record, a stumble out of the gate that clashes like a discordant note with last year's symphony of success. The pitching staff, once the team's cornerstone, is off-key with a ballooning 4.96 ERA. Meanwhile, the offense is strumming a .256 batting average, decent, but not the rousing anthem needed to rally the troops. Even the fans, those die-hard groupies, are holding their applause, with attendance numbers that whisper rather than shout. Sure, the Mavericks have a financial cushion, over $7.2 million to be exact, to pull off a mid-season trade or two. But here's the kicker. The expectations are as sky-high as a Texas summer sun, and the Mavericks better find their shade, or their shine, quickly. Will they shake off this hangover, or is it time to sound the alarm bells?
Question 25. What is your take on the current roster?
1981 Mavericks, a tale of two seasons, one roster.
The 1981 Houston Mavericks are like a country song in progress. Some verses are toe-tapping good, and others make you reach for the whiskey. The starting rotation has its anchors in Scott Zell and Nate Higgins, but boy, does the bullpen need a tune-up, with setup men Ernesto Marroquin and Tony Chavarria singing the blues. Valentin Jeffroy, the closer, is the chorus everyone wants to hear, a reliable refrain in the night. On the batting side, catcher Alex Ramirez and outfielder Apostolos Georgiou are hitting the high notes. But middle infielders Felix Alvarez and Ricky Castillo? They're struggling to find the melody. Injuries to Chris Washington and David Travaglini are like missed chords that could throw off the whole song. And while the lineups against right-handers and left-handers look balanced on paper, they need to belt out some hits to really harmonize with fans' expectations. Time will tell if this roster can turn their season into a chart topper or if they'll be stuck playing the B-sides. The Mavericks faithful sure hope they find their rhythm soon. Well, there you have it, your up-close and personal deep dive into the Houston Mavericks. We've dissected their strengths, weaknesses, and everything in between. We've peeked into the owner's suite, dug into the dugout, and even scoped out the fans in the bleachers. And let me tell you, what a ride it's been. Like a well-pitched game, we've covered all the bases, but remember, baseball is a game of unpredictability. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it throws you a curveball. The Houston Mavericks, a team that strummed a near-platinum hit during the regular season, only to hit a sour note when the Grand Tournament of Champions rolled around. Are they destined to be the chart toppers who can't seal the deal, or will they find that elusive chorus that turns them into postseason legends? The Mavericks' tale is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be a page-turner. Big Earl here, folks. Keep your eyes peeled for future reports as we navigate through the twists and turns of another gripping ABL season. So, whether you're a die-hard Mavericks fan or just love the game, the best is yet to come. Until next time, this is the game. See it for yourself.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.